Hey, good afternoon. This is Mike Schonholtz and Meredith Vines from ARG. We're excited to bring to you 7 opportunities that we're seeing in unified communications as a service. We meet with over 2,000 customers every single year, and we like to, at points in time, just take that information and get our insights and what we're seeing real time in the marketplace out to you all as quickly and as efficiently as possible. I think one of the things that we're seeing right now is firms of all sizes can now leverage tools and capabilities that have historically been complex to deploy and required really specialized skill. And only the largest enterprises could afford, access, develop, deploy these solutions, at scale. But what we're seeing happening real time and really over the past 3 years is the barriers to entry have lowered significantly, and it allows clients of all sizes to take advantage of technology, that traditionally they haven't been able to afford or staff in order to deploy. And really, this is primarily due to cloud, to the proliferation of cloud services being available to our customers, and the models of consumption changing. The inflection points really crossed over, and even Gartner, in their 2017 State of the Cloud report, UCaaS had surpassed premise-based phone systems for the first time in deployment. So we're seeing that shift in technology happening right now, right in front of our eyes. So Meredith's going to take you through the 7 communication opportunities that we see that we think will help you thrive in this market.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, we're going to start with some business challenges, or rather what we like to think of as opportunities. And we're going to we've come up with 7 we think are the most relevant. And I'm going to kick us off with something that Mike referenced, being able to take advantage of technology that was really previously only available to a certain segment of the marketplace. Typically, that would have been the enterprise space. And that's what we call contact center. If I were to ask most people what they think of when they hear contact center, first they're probably going to say call center. There's an image of a bank of phones, people with headsets on, maybe overseas, maybe here. But instead of call center, what we're going to speak about really is what we call omnichannel. And just simply put, that's multiple ways in which your clients, your customers, your members can interact with you. So you might be asking, well, what does this mean for me? What does omnichannel bring to my organization? And more importantly, what am I not taking advantage of by not leveraging contact center? So Mike, why don't you kind of hit us up with an example that might apply?
Yeah, so first, omnichannel is just all the ways that your clients connect or interact with you. So if you think about your website, your physical office property, social media, if you've got chat functionality on your website, if you've got an application, if you host conferences, those are all mediums that your clients or members use to ultimately get to and interact with your coworkers. But taking all of those, one, making all of those mediums available is the first step. 2 is making sense of all of those interactions and making those interactions actionable back to the business, either to drive, as an example, increased value in membership dues, or to drive revenue or profit for your business. So if you think about a financial institution, it's something that is all relevant to each and every one of us, because there are times where we're going to go to the website and apply for a loan. There's going to be times where we call into the contact center and talk to an agent. There's going to be times where we check our balance or apply for a credit card on our on the mobile app. So all of those ways, all of those interactions are critical. And why? So if, as an example, in real time, an agent who I'm interacting with on the phone knows that I've transferred money from my money market to my checking account, that I've recently applied for multiple car loans, that using tools that are integrated into that experience with that agent, I'm pulling readily available social media from LinkedIn or from Facebook, so that I'm building a user profile real time, and I'm taking what would have been siloed interactions and putting them into a point where I could have a richer experience with that person on the other end of the phone. I may, as an example, want to take that individual who's transferred money, applied for multiple loans, maybe gotten a new job, new house, and think about ways that I could maybe elevate them into our credit services or our financial services organization. Just a way, just one example of how you can take all those interactions and do something meaningful with them, just by simply adding a few seats of contact center to an existing UCaaS agreement.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It really is something that's more than just your receptionist or your help desk. How can this drive business completely throughout your organization? So that brings us to our next challenge. I think today is an always-on world, and we expect instant communication, and it really doesn't matter where you are or what device you have in your hand at that moment. One of the things that we talk about is the anywhere part of this. The always on means no matter where you are. And believe it or not, in this day and age, there are still organizations that hang a sign saying they are closed when there's a weather event at their office. They literally cannot communicate with their customers or with each other because they can't access something that's in a physical location. And that's just not a thing in 2018, and it shouldn't be. But let's also talk about a changing workforce. And we really believe you need to meet everybody where they live. So when you've got a staff, you need to be able to provide instant communication with and for them. It doesn't matter if they've got a soft phone, if they're going from a mobile, if they want to have a video chat from their home office. It really shouldn't matter. So just an example, I run this consulting practice here at ARG, and I am managing folks who are out on the road all the time, seeing our clients, taking care of them, and bringing great solutions to their organizations. I've got a staff that ranges in age, and my experience is they're constantly communicating, and they're never at their desk. And those two things are not mutually exclusive. Even some of our older generation love to use technology in new and interesting ways, like FaceTiming. And again, should not be limited to a chassis sitting in a closet down the hall from your office. Productivity can't be limited by the endpoint. And if your communication options are literally unlimited, then why are you limiting your business by not taking advantage of that? So let's talk about integration for a moment, and integration with some key operating systems that you use today. What am I talking about? I'm thinking something like Salesforce, maybe Box, Office 365, Google Hangouts. You get the picture. There's a lot that are available in the marketplace, but what you know to be true, if these applications are not working together, and I mean working together seamlessly, then you as the IT professional, you're wasting time, and more importantly, you're wasting money.
Yeah, I was actually going to maybe just piggyback on the example that you just gave, which is Salesforce powers our business. Mm-hmm. And Salesforce isn't just simply a place today where we log interactions as we're designing or implementing a solution, but it's actually a fully integrated lifecycle management system. So every phone call, every text, every instant message communication, every trouble ticket, move, ads, change, or disconnect feeds into our ability to help our customers make better data-driven decisions. That then feeds the types of marketing events and partners that we ultimately bring to the marketplace. And then it feeds, again, our customers' ability to sit down and say, okay, look, I'm a regional bank who's in high growth mode, acquiring new regional banks. And one of the things that's most critical to me is speed. It's integration. It's leveraging IT to increase profit day one. And we can take all of that data through that entire life cycle and present back technology solutions to our customers. Say, look, if it's not just cost, we know that this firm, that this supplier implements their solution on average 10 days faster than their competition, or they have X number of trouble tickets less than the average supplier in this space. And helping our clients make a decision not just purely based on cost is something that we've been able to use to drive extraordinary value, not just out of our phone system, but its integration into the systems that we use that power our business.
So I mentioned the workforce, and my guess is that this could resonate with a lot of folks, both as an employee, but also as leaders or even owners of organizations. we are hiring more and more folks who don't understand why coming to an office is a thing. We talked about you shouldn't be limited to a physical location in an always-on communication environment. We agree. You don't have to be in an office to be productive. And we also agree that you can't sacrifice that productivity due to a dispersed workforce. We want you to leverage the technology, and it isn't a decision you have to make between productivity and a dispersed workforce. Furthermore, why compete with folks like AWS or Google or Microsoft or Booz Allen for talent when you can go find and bring that talent to your organization no matter where they are? And conversely, why hire a workforce in an expensive market if you don't have to? Go to the market that you want to hire the people you want to, and then bring them into your organization using the technology at hand. Again, I can speak for us here at ARG. We've got offices in Boston, in Maryland, in Wisconsin, on the West Coast, in Utah, but we want it to feel like we are together, mostly because we're a highly collaborative group. So we need these tools to help us talk, to work on the same projects, and of course to put together an extremely important and vital proposal for our clients. So that's today. What about tomorrow? So Mike?
Yeah, I think about 80% of the workforce is going to be millennials in the next 5 years. And when I think about, I'm sure many of you listening here, and I know many of us here at ARG have kids between the age of 12 and 25. If you could, for a moment, if you have kids that age, think about what happens when they have their friends over and they're sitting on the couch watching a movie. Are they actually looking at each other in the face and engaging in conversation? Or are they texting each other and sitting directly next to each other? I think one of the more interesting things about unifying the workforce in the future will be allowing people to communicate in a way that's most productive and comfortable for them. And the workforce is changing, and picking up the phone or going to a face-to-face meeting or even sending an email will almost seem out of touch, out of date.
Yeah, so speaking of out of touch, how about you get rid of your handset? If you're making a decision on a communication platform based on the handset on your desk, I think you've missed the point. So obviously we want to do things like reduce waste, and as you can see here, we believe that that's a lot of waste. But we also want to help you reduce maintenance costs and quite frankly, headaches of another thing to manage. And we again don't think you have to sacrifice anything for this. We think it gives you maximum choice for your user community. We spoke a little bit about the different folks who are going to be leveraging this technology, both in terms of the users themselves, but also where they are when they're getting on the platform. So we think that you can take advantage of things like mobile and soft phones. They're getting tighter every year. That's where a lot of the development and the refinement is going into. So it's going to be a better experience for your end users. In fact, we've talked about this could possibly be the last iteration of handsets deployed. So we don't want you to make a decision based upon that. But if you do have folks that continue to want a paperweight on their desk, then by all means, you have that choice, and we love that.
Yeah, it's, as I reflect on the way I use the phone, I've been at ARG for just over 100 days, and I think I've received 2 phone calls. But I think that the point here too is we really need to challenge the way that we think about unified communications and telephony. We're working a project right now with a local country club, and if you're in the services industry, this should resonate. It's all about member value and changing the experience for their membership as compared to the country club down the street that they're ultimately competing with. So imagine a world where you've got a user profile, you've got a member profile, and the minute they pass through the gates of the country club, you've got their favorite sandwich, you've got their clubs on the back of the cart, you've got their favorite drink, you've already reserved their favorite caddy, and everybody's standing there waiting for them to just create a better member experience as they come in. That's the future of unified communications, more so than just a replacement of your premise telephony system.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, speaking of future, I think obviously we are talking to our clients about a lot of different technology solutions. And what we hear overwhelmingly is they're looking to things like, for example, Microsoft Teams and what it could mean for their business. So, though you may think of that in a different way than you would potentially a communication strategy around a PBX, we want to kind of elevate that discussion and talk about how the two are actually quite related.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is our customers have made an investment in the Microsoft platform, and there's more and more functionality. And the way that those users work, by and large, throughout the day, is in those Microsoft tool sets. So making sure that your phone system is highly integrated into Dynamics is taking advantage of future Teams functionality is really, really critical. Now, there's two ways you could do that, right? Now, the promise of unified communications is a single, integrated, online, managed platform. Now, what you would need to do 3 to 5 years ago to do that, either on a Cisco-based or Microsoft-based platform, is you'd have the OEM or software licensing manufacturer. You'd have an integrator on the front end that would help do an evaluation of current state, probably some migration services, help you with dialing plan, and do some fairly significant engineering under a statement of work. And then in the middle, you'd probably have a handset manufacturer or some type of gateway. 5 years ago, you needed 3 or 4 vendors to put together a highly integrated Microsoft-based telephony system. That's not the way people need to do it anymore. And you can leverage partners who have chosen Microsoft as their platform that create a highly integrated, fully native solution and experience that doesn't require our clients to manage multiple vendors, because that's just not something that's required anymore, and can still help our clients get the most out of that Microsoft investment that they've made historically.
Absolutely. You know, the discussion to this point, and I think it's worked well in terms of progressing through. We've talked a lot about the applications, we've talked about some features and some products, but the reality is that you need data to make key business decisions. Your technology has to deliver actionable data, otherwise you can't make those decisions. And I'm not talking about pretty graphs. That's not the point. There'll be a lot of things that want to give you information, but you need to know what to do with that. Your clients, your customers are communicating across multiple channels. It's your ability to provide insight around that that's the new currency in the IT world. In fact, your IT investments are actually paid for in that currency. And we've got an excellent example of how you can use key data coming out of your communication systems to really drive your business forward. Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to a recent example of my own buying experience when I bought a car. I think about I went to a couple different local car dealers' websites, probably 197 times, looking at the same 2 models of car. I also used some of their online pricing and leasing tools. I chatted with somebody attempting to negotiate some pricing, so I had an idea outside of just my online research that I had done before I went in. I went in and test drove cars day of. There was, before I met the salesperson, possibly 100 different interactions or more that I had with their company before I stepped through the doors. And actually, the sales guy asked me afterwards, he goes, "You were buying a car today, weren't you?" Yeah, because I had educated myself. I had interacted with them in so many different ways, before I came into that door. How great would it have been if he knew that? Mm-hmm. If he knew that the moment I crossed through the doors into the dealership floor, that he knew that I was there, and he knew the research that I'd done, and he could have encouraged me into that vehicle. So again, just another way that if you think about all those interactions, it's a bit of an omnichannel, but it's also taking a single communications platform, taking all of the different ways that you're interacting with your clients, members, or owners, and really do something with that data that could be impactful.
Yeah, my guess is that you in and of yourself provided a profile client to that car dealership. And could they build a strategy around clients that look like you based upon your habits?
Yeah.
The answer is yes, because they have all that data, and then they could make decisions about their next go to market strategy based on that.
We really did just attempt to take you through kind of some of the 7 themes that we're seeing in the marketplace, 7 opportunities. Like we said in the beginning, we see 2,000 some odd customers every single year, and we get to see what those that are thriving in the marketplace are doing, and the strategies that they're implementing. And hopefully, this was valuable in bringing it to you all. More often than not, as we engage, we see a fragmented collaboration experience where people are using a whole lot of collaboration tools. We know that when we talk to our clients and talk to their line of business owners and the coworkers that are outside of IT, there are just different communication styles depending on the end user, and you've got lots of generations that you need to support. We know that the consumption and deployment models, whether you've chosen to use Microsoft or Cisco, are different, not just in the way that you need to purchase, but in the way that they're contracted and deployed. And once you do all of that, just getting end user adoption is really challenging in and of itself. So here at ARG, we think we've got a good recipe to help ensure success, and hopefully you found this time valuable.